Hello and welcome to this video about 2-point perspective. So if you remember in the previous video about 1-point perspective, we used a 10 feet wall as a reference to derive the vanishing point. In this case, we can only use the edge of that wall for deriving the vanishing point. The reason being, the horizontal lines of the wall actually converge to one of the vanishing points in 2-point perspective, as you will see later in the video. So only the edge, which is the vertical line, remains unaffected by these points. So once you have the edge, you can mark an horizontal line at 5.5 feet and then you can mark 2 points which will be the vanishing points. So for an interior view, as you can see, the right side wall converges to the point on the left and the left side wall converges to the point on the right. So what if we had to draw the bench that we did in the previous video? How do we do that in 2-point perspective? Again, you start with a cross section on one of the walls. So keep in mind that the cross section is also converging to one of the vanishing points, unlike in 1-point perspective. So you have to keep that into consideration while taking the measurements of the bench. So now let's move on to exterior views. So as you can see, the right side wall here is converging to the point on the right side, and the left side wall is converging to the point on the left side. This is the major difference between exterior and interior views. So keeping this in mind, you can complete the rest of the drawing with roads and other buildings. So now let's move on to the ants and bird's eye view in 2-point perspective. So on the left is the ants view and on the right is the bird's eye view. So same as in the 1-point perspective, the eye level of the ant is nearly at the floor itself. So you can mark the 2 vanishing points accordingly. And for a bird, it is much higher than 10 feet. One more thing about 2-point perspective is that you can place the points outside the paper itself. So what that means is you have to assume where the point is and draw the lines accordingly. This can be hard at first and requires a lot of practice. But doing this will give you much more realistic results compared to having the vanishing points on the paper itself. You can use the same technique even for 3-point perspective. You can start practicing 2-point perspective through drawings like this. In this drawing, the viewer is at the height of 6 floors, which is basically 60 feet from the ground. And you can use the 10 feet walls reference and 6 times that measurement, and you will get a reference of where to place the vanishing points. This view is also comparable to that of the bird's eye view. In this question, you are in your bedroom and your size is reduced to 40 cm. So a bed is typically about 1.5 to 2 feet height. So you can use that measurement as a reference to determine where the vanishing point should lie. In this example, you are in a garden looking at the edge of a statue made of 8 cubes. Now, this question is clearly specifying you looking at the edge. This means that you have to draw the drawing either in 2-point perspective or in 3-point perspective. Usually, you will have the option to choose between either of the 3 techniques, 1-point, 2-point or 3-point. But this question is specific. Also, since this is in a garden, the ground will be covered with grass. So, you have to consistently use the texture of the grass throughout the drawing. In this question, you are an ant stuck in a kitchen cupboard. So since this is the view of an ant, the vanishing point will lie very close to the floor. And also observe how distorted the view looks, since the object is so much higher than the height of the ant. In this question, the doctor is doing a checkup of your younger brother. You are seated at the doctor's table. So, you can see the presence of the viewer in the bottom section of the page. That is, the hands of the viewer is shown. You can also see elements such as the weighing machine and the tools for measuring the height are shown, which show that this clinic is for children. This question is about a scene in your school classroom during lunch break. So during lunch break, it's chaos in the classroom. So you could represent that through open books, bottles and tiffin boxes lying around, students running and chasing each other, students writing on the board, etc. to make the scene look lively. You can also use elements such as the speakers, the projectors, the notice board to tell that this scene takes place in a classroom. Alright, so that's it for this video. See you in the next one.